Now, have you ever heard of structures so grand they challenge time itself? Now, imagine constructions that defied the impossible, built with faith, wrapped in mystery, and filled with messages that still echo today. Today, you're going to uncover the hidden secrets behind the greatest constructions in the Bible. And the last one will turn everything you thought you knew upside down. From the very first chapters of the Bible, we see humanity trying to build something: an altar, a tower, an ark, a temple. Each construction carries a purpose, a calling, a message. Some were built in glory and splendor, others in the midst of pain and despair. But all of them have one thing in common: they were made to be a bridge between the human and the divine. Throughout this journey, we'll explore 5 of the most enigmatic constructions in all of Scripture. We'll dive into their stories, the hidden details in the Bible, the archaeological discoveries that challenge science, and the spiritual lessons that still speak to us today. If you love history, faith, and rare curiosities, get ready, because what you're about to discover might just give you chills. First, Noah's Ark, the work of faith. In the midst of humanity's downfall, when evil seemed to have no end, God made a radical decision to start over. But before judgment came mercy, and he chose a man, Noah, a righteous man in a corrupt generation. He was entrusted with an impossible mission: build a colossal ark to save his family and the animals of the earth. Now pause for a moment and imagine a giant ship over 130 meters long, built entirely by hand. No power tools, no modern technology, just faith, gopher wood, and pitch. This ark wasn't just a boat. It was a floating sanctuary, a symbol of God's mercy amidst judgment. But the question remains: how did Noah manage it? How did he gather the animals? How did he store food? Science tries to explain. Some geologists believe a massive flood did occur in Mesopotamia. There are similar legends in several ancient cultures. In 1959, a Turkish pilot spotted a formation resembling a ship's hull on Mount Ararat. Since then, expeditions have found petrified wood and symmetrical structures there. Coincidence? Illusion? Or evidence of something greater? The debate continues, but faith stands firm. Second, Jericho, the city that fell with a shout. Imagine a city surrounded by walls so thick they seemed indestructible. Walls built to last for centuries, yet standing before them was an army without battering rams, without catapults, no modern weapons, just faith, trumpets, and a shout. The story of Jericho is one of the most mysterious in the Bible. Joshua and the Israelites, fresh out of the desert, were given a divine command: march in silence around the city for 6 days. On the 7th, march around it 7 times, blow the trumpets and shout. And they did. And then the walls crumbled. But how? Archaeologists like Kathleen Kenyon excavated Jericho and found astonishing ruins. Most curious of all, the walls appeared to have collapsed inward, something extremely rare. Skeptics suggest an earthquake, and yes, Jericho does lie on a fault line, but that raises another question. How did God's people know the exact moment? How did the shout line up with the collapse? A miracle or supernatural timing? Third, Solomon's Temple, the sanctuary of glory. Now picture a construction where every wall was covered in pure gold, where carved cherubim stood guard over the holiest place on earth, a place where heaven met earth, Solomon's Temple. Solomon received the mission from his father David: build a house for God, and he spared no effort. Stones carved in silence, cedar from Lebanon shipped from afar, details in gold, bronze, and ivory. The Holy of Holies, the most sacred chamber, housed the Ark of the Covenant, When the temple was completed, something extraordinary happened. Heaven responded. A glorious cloud filled the temple. Fire descended from above. It was the sign God was there. Today, no physical trace of the original temple remains, but the biblical and historical accounts keep its memory alive. More than a construction, Solomon's temple was the visible presence of the invisible. The fourth, the Tower of Babel, the pride that divided the world. Everyone spoke the same language. There were no divisions, one people. And with that unity, they decided to build something that would reach the heavens. The Tower of Babel was more than an architectural project. It was a symbol of human arrogance. Let us make a name for ourselves, they said. But God intervened. He confused their languages, and the construction stopped. Chaos took over the worksite. Workers couldn't understand each other. Commands became confusion. One asked for bricks, the other brought water. And so languages were born, cultures, nations. Science suggests the tower may have been inspired by Mesopotamian ziggurats, especially the Etemenanki, a stepped pyramid dedicated to the god Marduk. Its name, House that Connects Heaven and Earth. The resemblance is striking, but the lesson remains: every construction built for man's glory is destined to fall. Fifth, the Second Temple, the rebirth of hope. 70 years after the Babylonian exile, the Jews returned home. Everything was destroyed, but not their faith. With permission from Cyrus, the Persian king, they began rebuilding the temple. Smaller, without gold, without the ark, but filled with hope. The elders wept. That new house seemed insignificant compared to Solomon's temple. But God made a promise. The glory of this latter house shall be greater than the former. Haggai 2:9. Years later, Herod would expand this temple. White marble, gold, massive columns, lavish walkways. And it was there that Jesus taught. He drove out the merchants and said, "Destroy this temple, and I will raise it again in 3 days." In 70 AD, the Romans destroyed everything. The gold melted and flowed between the stones. The temple became ruins. But the true temple had risen. Christ became the new sanctuary, and today we are called to be the dwelling place of the Spirit. So tell me, which of these constructions stirred your faith the most? Every stone, every brick, every plank carries not just history but deep revelation. The Bible is not just a book of faith, it's a map of eternal constructions. And the final question is, what are you building with your life? If this video spoke to your heart, leave a like, subscribe to the Sacred Minutes channel, and activate the bell. And look, there are more amazing videos showing up on your screen right now. Click one and keep walking with us on this journey. May God bless your path, and I'll see you in the next chapter of faith.